Strada real estate.
Strada.
A lot of the time it's coming from people that have never done it before. For them, I think, do you know what I mean? Like, do your thing.
Crack on.
Yeah.
Where would you say to invest in Dubai right now?
It depends on your risk factor, really. If you want a 5% return and a safe bet, downtown. You can go down the Dubai South route, but there's obviously a little bit more risk there.
What is it that you learn about money management that I could learn from you?
I was always brought up that money is yours. It belongs to me and it goes in my savings account. And then when my car breaks down, I use it. Whereas what these guys do is they use money as a tool. It's yours, it's mine, it doesn't really matter. And he said, oh no, the reason I'm doing this is to free the money up to put it into this, and that will then give me 6 million. And I'm like, mate, like, normal people don't think like that.
When someone thinks of Gino, what do you want them to think?
Value. The whole thing is value. Everything I want to achieve is value. When someone associates me with something, I want them to look and go, is it from Gino? It means it's be valuable, I must watch it. I had a coffee with him in his office. He had this wonderful office in Business Bay. And he said, I really like you. You were very hungry. I was thinking, mate, yeah, 'cause I couldn't eat dinner. That's why. Do you know what I mean? By actually believing whatever's in your head is achievable. If you can see it in your head, you can go and get it. Sets you off to go and do whatever you want to do.
So have you truly believed in yourself from day one, or is it something you've had to build up?
So that was so difficult to actually continue to do something that doesn't look like it's achievable.
The only limit to our realization of tomorrow is our doubt of today. That's a quote from Franklin D. Roosevelt. The quote speaks the power of self-belief and overcoming self-doubt as an entrepreneur. So my first question for you, Gino, is what are your thoughts on how doubt and uncertainty play a role in the journey of your success, and how do you personally navigate through that?
Good question. I think doubt is a massive factor into results. I think self-belief is everything. I grew up, I'm very lucky, I've got a really, really good family that instilled in us self-belief, this magnificent sense of self-belief that we could actually go and achieve anything we wanted. And I think by setting goals, by actually believing whatever's in your head is achievable, if you can see it in your head, you can go and get it, sets you off to go and do whatever you want to do.
So have you truly believed in yourself from day one, or is it something you've had to build up?
There's been doubts along the way. There has been doubts, but I think when you really scratch beneath the surface, you have to really back yourself to do anything, right? I think, especially when you haven't achieved anything and you're saying to people, or you're saying to friends, family, this is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm going to drive. This is what I'm going to, whatever it is that's in your head. And they go, well, you go, no, I am going to do it. So you actually have to believe you're going to do it. And then when it happens.
That's interesting. I was going to throw this later on in the podcast, but seeing as well on the topic of it now, when you have doubts from people around you who are saying, you can't do that, you can't do that. And I've experienced this personally as well. When I said to people that I'm going to put on a mastermind in Dubai and it's going to be wicked. And here we are, it's done. I think, we'll talk about this later on in the podcast as well, but you've enjoyed it. But I did have people who were saying, nah, not sure. And in your time, in your life, when you've had moments like that, how do you deal with that?
I think it's when it comes from someone that's done it before, I listen and I think, well, why are you saying that then? A lot of the time it's coming from people that have never done it before. I think a lot of people, they don't want to see you do as well as you want to do, or they've got ulterior motives. So for them, I think, fuck them. Do you know what I mean? Like, do your thing.
Crack on.
Yeah.
Fairs. Just to give an introduction to people of who you are and what you do.
Yep. If
you could give us a line of where you've come from to where you've got to right now, what would you say?
I'm from the UK. I run one of the fastest growing real estate companies out here in Dubai. It's nearly 3 years old and it's like something no one's seen before. And I love what I do. That's what I'd say.
But were you always an entrepreneur, or did you think you evolved into it?
No, I loved sales, right? And I don't know if I'd say I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a sales leader. I love sales, Am I the best businessman? Probably not. But I'm a good salesperson, and I know how to train salespeople and build sales teams and build growth in businesses. When I left school, I wanted to be in sales. I did a little bit of work experience at 118 with the moustaches.
The call line,
Yeah. And I worked with someone who was a bad underperformer. And I thought, mate, this is the worst job in the whole world. You're making all these calls and everyone's saying to fuck off. And then I worked with a top achiever who was earning commission. And I got my head around the fact that you don't actually have to do any more, but you can make a lot more money. Mm-hmm. So my thing was sales, go into sales. When I was about 19, 20, I was working in a company that was like account management. So I was managing a lot of business owners. And what I saw is some phenomenal entrepreneurs running these wonderful businesses that they'd set up, and then people that were making a lot of money but they didn't know anything. I think, how are you lot doing this? And it sort of got my attention and made me fall in love with business. And then I wanted to go down my own business.
Your own journey.
Yeah.
So real estate, was that your first ever journey in entrepreneurship, or was it something else before that?
I tried. Do you know what I used to really struggle with? I wasn't the best person with money, and I used to struggle with like P&L. So I'd make profit and then spend it all. I wouldn't reinvest it, right?
Okay, so no money management.
No, none at all.
But I think that's natural, you know, as every new entrepreneur, they do that. You see a little bit of money that they've earned and let's just go spend it. Let's go treat ourselves.
Yeah. And what I learned is when you're spending it inside the business, it's fine. But when I go buy new trainers or whatever, you think, fucking hell, I can't buy any more stock. So I tried to do a little bit with, I was trying to buy like protein and then sell it with a margin. Did it a little bit, spent the money and it didn't work out.
Protein powder?
Protein powder, yeah. A mate of mine had it wholesale. So I was trying to do that when I was younger. I set up a little company with one of my best friends who lives in Australia now. We had this idea. We sat in Milton Keynes. We sat having lunch in Pizza Express, and we designed this little flyer, right? And the idea of it was we'd hand it out for free, and we'd sell the advertising space. At the time, we thought we were geniuses. And we started to sell. And what we'd do is we'd buy a number for every single space, and it would divert into your number. So then I could track how many calls you were getting and then give you value on the ad. We did that for a couple of months. He managed all the money. He was very good at it. And I was very good at spending the money. And in the end, it ended up fizzling out.
Spending money in the good way or the bad way?
No, bad way. But I am better now, I promise I am. But yeah, so that was the sort of idea behind it. And I wanted my own business so badly, but just couldn't seem to get the hang of it. Worked in London for a startup. So I went through that sort of startup phase that raised money and then realised how... I thought it was quite easy. And then I realised when I saw behind the scenes how difficult it is and how much blood, sweat and tears goes into it. That was when I was like, right, okay, now I understand, now I get it, you know?
So at the point when you were doing business with your best friend who's now in Australia, I want to understand the working relationship between you two, because I'm not going to throw any... I'm just going to say how it is exactly that, right? So if there's one partner who's bringing in the money and then there's one partner spending the money, how did that relationship end up? You know, were you friends before business? Yeah,
best mates. And we were friends. We actually worked together. So we came up with the idea. Do you know what it was? I was good at generating money and I was also good at spending it. He was good at generating it. He was good at he has a very good business mind and I didn't at the time. But I think what happened was we got to the point where I was like, it wasn't really a scalable business either. And we didn't really know what we were doing. So it fizzled out. So yeah, that was my first attempt.
So what's a lesson we could learn from that?
I think having partners is a massive lesson I learned. Having the right people around you. Our business is as strong as it is because there's three of us that own it, right? And we're three completely different people. One heads up sales, one heads up marketing, and one is ops. And together we build like the ultimate CEO, you know? And we build so much strength that we complement each other. So I think that was a massive lesson I learned from it, having the right people around you.
What was the hardest part of your early days building a business?
In Strada?
In general?
Or in general?
Yeah.
I think I was a broker before I owned a business out here. So the hardest part was keeping the self-belief. I used to drive to work. I did 6 months without doing a deal, right? So I went skiing.
Where's this, out here?
Out here, yeah. So drive to work every single day in a Suzuki Swift.
Yep.
And say to myself in the morning, today's the day, I'm going to do a deal. I drive home every night. My missus would be like, did you do a deal? I said, no, today I didn't, but tomorrow I'm going to, don't worry. And it was that mindset. So that was so difficult to actually continue to do something that doesn't look like it's achievable until you do it.
No, do you know what? It's a testament to where you've become, because we're doing this podcast right now in your back garden. You've shown us around your home, and I must say, an immaculate, beautiful home you've got here. So from that story there to where we are right now, we've got the pool behind us, we've got a beautiful view, beautiful trees, the whole lot. It's incredible. And do you know what? I think this podcast is going to be amazing because we've known each other for quite some time now.
Yeah.
You know, you came down to the mastermind, done a speech in front of everyone, and we just have great conversations off camera. So I thought when we do this podcast, it's going to be one of those ones where I'm doing a podcast with a friend more so than I'm doing a podcast with someone I haven't met before.
Yeah.
And I think it's just going to open both our eyes
100%.
to
There's a lot of chemistry as well, isn't there?
There's a lot of chemistry. Yeah. There's probably a lot of things I don't know about you, which I'm about to dig deep into right now and today. But at the end, it's amazing, man. So I want to appreciate you coming on. As someone running multiple businesses, I know how overwhelming it could be managing everything. Finances, taxes, expenses, you name it, it can definitely become a lot to manage at times. I used to rely on several different services just to keep everything on track, but that's where it all changed when I started using Tide. You see, Tide has completely changed the way I manage my business. With their business account, I've got all my tools in one place. Payments, expense tracking, savings, taxes, I've got it all in their app. That means no more juggling between different platforms. Tide gives me the simplicity and efficiency I've always needed. And here's how it's worked out so great for me, because in 2025, I'll be launching my own business, which you'll find out soon. And I'm doing it all through Tide. Furthermore, this is my business card for the new business. I registered my company and got my free business account all within one day, making it fast and reliable just the way it should be. Now here's the best part. I'm about to change your life as well. If you're looking for a similar solution, Tide is offering something special for you CEOCAST viewers. When you sign up and use my code CEOCAST50, you'll get £50 cash back when you spend £100 on your new Tide account. Terms and conditions apply. It's seriously a no-brainer for anyone trying to streamline their business. So what can I say? From someone who's actually been using Tide, it has changed my life more than I can imagine. It's just made things so much more simpler and easier. And I know it can do the same for you guys, which is why I'm so glad to partner with them. So stop wasting time on multiple services and join Tide, where you have everything in one place. Head over now using the link in the description or scan the QR code on the screen right now and get started today. And once again, make sure you use that promo code CEOCAST50 because that's when you'll get your £50 cash back.
Thank you very much.
Coming back to it, so you were doing business in the UK.
Yep.
What made you want to come to Dubai in the first place?
We came out on holiday. A mate of mine phoned me up and said, I want to go to Dubai. Should we go out? I said, all right, yeah, fine, let's go then.
How old are you at this point?
22, 23.
Okay.
Quite young.
Young.
So me and him booked a flight, came out, stayed for a week, and partied a little bit, but also went handed our CVs out and whatever. And he ended up, I think he got an interview. Well, I think we both got interviews, and it was a commission-only finance role. And I bottled it, but he went, stuck it out, came over on his own. He's got a wonderful story, stayed in a room and did all these crazy things and ended up becoming super successful. So I then used to come out every year and stay with him. And every time I come, he'd get more successful and more successful. And I'm like, mate, what are you doing? He lived on like the 40th floor or something crazy. And when he used to wake up in the morning, there was clouds level with you.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. So I said to my now wife, we've got to do it. I've got to go. I missed the opportunity. I'm seeing him do this. He used to say,
how many years on is this then?
This was a couple of years in.
Okay.
So that was 2015. We moved out in 2018.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you would have been 26, 27?
Yeah. And I was saying to her, like, we've got to go. She didn't want to come. It got to the point I said to her, right, I'm going. Whether you come, whether you don't, it is what it is. We've got to go. And she came. But I didn't want to be in real estate at all. I deliberately, I'd been in tech in the startup. It didn't work out. The company ended up made me redundant. And I said, I want to go back into tech. I wanted to be that sort of account manager, salesy sort of role with the safety net of a salary. And mate, for 3 months, couldn't get a job for love nor money.
So what did you do in the whole 3 months? You're just burning cash
Do you know
on
what I
rent
used
and
to do?
stuff,
Yeah,
right?
it was. Well, she got a job straight away. So she
was working.
She got a job within a week.
Yeah.
The funny story is, the company she worked for back home was a very small company, but had a very similar brand to a national company. It was in office space.
Okay, yep.
The guy that employed her thought she worked for the national company. So she's asking all these crazy questions about scaling the business. And she's like, yeah, no problem. Had no idea and got the job. So she supported us for the first 7 or 8 months. She paid the rent. She did everything. And actually backed me. And you're talking about belief. She was like my biggest supporter, my biggest fan. She's like, keep going, keep doing what you're doing. It is crazy and you need to make it work, but I know you'll do it. Like, you will make it work. So for the first couple of months where I couldn't get it, sounds a bit mad now. I used to go and sit in Starbucks in Marina Mall. And I used to think to myself, there's so many people here that if I sit here for 7, 8 hours a day, I'm bound to meet someone. Like, I'll just keep talking and talking. If you're in London now and I start talking to you randomly, I'm a bit crazy. Yeah. But here, everyone's
open.
Yeah. So I met loads and loads and loads of people. Ended up meeting someone that knew someone at the Mac, and then went and worked with the developer.
Okay, so you worked at the Mac developer then?
I worked at the Mac developer for a couple of months.
Yeah.
Which gave me an insight. So again, got offered a role actually at a startup tech company with a much higher salary, and got offered the role in Damac, which was a much lower salary, but it had a commission or whatever. And I said to Ellie, I know we've been waiting for the tech company. I know we've been waiting for the salary, but I just have a feeling I've got to go with the real estate. I've got to do it. So, and I lasted 3 months there. it wasn't. I'm not an employee. I'm pretty unemployable, to be honest. So I didn't work very well being employed. But I left that and ended up going in as a broker.
So why is it that you came here and you didn't want to get into real estate? Was that in your mind that, no, I don't want to do real estate? Or what was it? Because I know real estate here now in 2024, going into 2025, everyone wants to do it. Everyone wants to come from the UK or their other home countries, come here and do real estate. Everyone talks about Dubai, self-developing. We need more real estate brokers out here. So now in this day and age, I get it. But going back 7 years ago, it wasn't as spoken about as much as it was then. So why didn't you want to get into it?
Well, it was actually the opposite. So the market was very, very different and it was a lot harder. The market was on a downward turn as opposed to being booming. And when we moved here, we lived in a room. The weirdest thing is, changing the subject, one of my business partners now actually took the room off me. So we rented a room with 3 or 4 people in the apartment. We exited the room and Jay took it over.
Did you know Jay?
No, I never met him. I just put it on Facebook. Met him, we stayed in contact, and that's that. We used to meet for a beer every couple of months and catch up. Yeah. He was in real estate, and I remember thinking, when I said, what are you going to do then, mate? I'm here for real estate, thinking, you have no idea what you're in for. So I left and we went and moved in with all Ellie's friends. There was like 7 of them, me and like 7 girls living in this one apartment. And all of them had been in real estate. So they're all saying to me, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. It's loads of cold calls, it's this, it's all the negatives of it. So it sort of put me off and I thought, oh, right, I don't really want to do it. But then I saw when I got into the Mac, I saw some of the money people were earning, started to get my head around selling B2C as opposed to B2B as well. And then fell in love with it.
So you preferred the B2C side?
Now I do.
Okay.
Couldn't get my head around it before. Yeah. Could not get my head. I couldn't understand. If I was selling cups, or glasses, I'd go to you as a restaurant. I know you have a need for what I've got, right? So I can open the conversation. But what I could never understand is how I could meet you today and know that you've got 50 grand as a down payment in your. I don't know whether you need it, want it, and how am I going to convince you of it? So it took ages for me to understand how to find that.
Okay, so B2B was more of what you understood and went down on that.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. I want to come back to something you said there, right? So you said Ellie was supporting you and the family, I suppose, for the first 3 months or so when you were living out here in Dubai. Now, knowing you, as I said, good friends, you're a proper geezer and you've got like masculine morals, I want to say.
Yeah.
So with your woman supporting you, and there's nothing, the man wants to be a provider at the end of the day.
100%. I know where you're going. Yeah.
How did that make you feel?
About this big? It was. Like you said, I'm a alpha, right? I want to take care of my wife. I want to take care of my family. I was brought up like that. You're the man of the house. You take care. It's old school. I am like that. And it was very, very difficult. I remember, I always tell my father-in-law this. My mother-in-law and father-in-law came out for dinner and I ended up going into the address. We were in downtown. They wanted to go for a drink. And I didn't really know downtown at the time, but I remember thinking the only place we can have a glass of wine is in the address. The address is a 5-star hotel and it's expensive for drinks. So we walked in. I thought, shit, this is proper expensive. The beer was about 60, 70 dirham, like 15 quid.
Yeah.
And I remember my father-in-law looking, going, 15 quid for a bottle of beer? And I was like, yeah, it's fine. I had no money, maybe like £5 in my account. And I remember kicking my wife under the table, like, give me a credit card, quietly, because I need to pay the bill because I brought you in here, but I can't have you look like you're paying the bill.
You need to look like the man.
Yeah. So
especially in front of her father.
Of course. And I remember I told him years on after, like you didn't know that was happening, but that's what it was. But so in answer to your question, it was very difficult. But when you've got someone that actually believes your madness and says, I don't care. And I said to her, I'm going to give you everything you've ever thought of, everything you've ever dreamed of. It will happen. She's like, I don't, and she actually doesn't want anything. I try and buy shit all the time now. She's like, I don't want it, take it back. I don't need it. I'm very lucky, but it was about the teamwork. She used to say to me, I'm not paying for you, you're not paying for me, we're a team. Do you know what I mean? Right now I'm paying, sweet, next week you'll pay. It's a different mindset.
How did you two meet? I know we're going the whole topic separate away from business, but
my best mate is engaged to her sister, so he introduced me.
Okay, and how did you know she was the one then? Coming across a woman who's willing to support you in your down times and make sure she's picking things up and all of that. It's
very easy, isn't it? When things are going really well, it's really, really easy to be with good people. But when shit hits the fan, when it all goes really, really wrong, and you think, I'm in a bad situation here, and a lot of people then disappear, and there's people that you need to lean on out there, and someone goes, it's fine, no problem, I've got you, and we'll keep going. And you go, you are actually the one. Like you are one of a kind. And the fact you put up a meal all the time, so I'm not easy to deal with.
Yeah,
so,
yeah. He's like, I need to hold down on this one.
Yeah. That was it, mate. So that's I knew before then, but that solidified us to be like,
Yeah.
we're solid.
Being a CEO isn't just about making tough decisions. It's about being at your very best every single day. That's why a lot of CEOs trust Sunnah Supplements, the world's first halal supplement brand. From halal collagen to electrolytes, Sunnah Supplements formulates products to help you perform at your highest level. Whether you're leading a company, a family, or simply yourself, Sunnah Supplements should be your partner to help you achieve more. The products are literally crafted to fit your lifestyle, your values, and your ambition. Every single ingredient is backed by science, and every single product is halal certified. And every formula designed to help you become the best version of yourself. And here's why I love Sunnah Supplements, because every single sale they make, they donate a portion of it to charity, which is something I deeply align with. So I'm not just buying products that fuel my body, but I'm also buying products that align with my values. With over 50,000 customers and having just launched in the USA, be sure to join the movement today and use the discount code CEOCAST for 10% off. Or I'll make this even simpler for you guys. Scan the QR code on the screen right now, which will take you directly to the website. And once again, when you're checking out, use code CEOCAST to get 10% off of your order. What an absolutely bloody bargain. So I want to thank Sunnah Supplements for A, sponsoring this video, but B, helping me become a better person overall. So throwing it back to the story.
Yeah.
Jay said he's going to get into real estate. You said, no, you don't know what you're in it for.
Yeah.
What happened from there?
So we moved out, and then, like I say, went in, worked with Damac, left. So the guy I was working for in Damac, my boss at the time, became CEO of a real estate company that had about 2 people in it, right? And he said, come work for me. It's commission only, I've got loads of leads, you'll be fine. So I came home, said to Ellie, I'm going to go and work in this job. Sounds a bit mad. It's commission only, but they'll give me a salary and they'll do this and do this. She's like, oh, okay, I don't think you should do it. But if
they said they would give you a salary.
They didn't, but I lied to her because I thought there's no way you're going to let me go and do this. So, yeah, I went to work there. And she used to keep saying, like, so what's happening with this salary? You're getting paid it or not? Oh, it's delayed, it's this, it's that. And mate, I just used to sit in the office. It was a 1,200 square foot office. It was a bit of a weird one. It had like a leopard print wall on one side, and I'm making it sound like a weird sex dungeon, aren't I? But it was probably strange.
I'm just waiting for you to say there's a pole there.
Yeah. There was a zebra print wall on the other. It was really strange. The guy who owned the firm was a very good investor, very good friend of mine now. He was a really good investor, but terrible taste. And there was all cubicles. You could smoke. I used to smoke back then. So I'd go and sit in the office, smoke 20 cigarettes a day and just hammer the phones and make 200 calls a day, make up a pitch. And ended up after 6-7 months finding one guy who was like, if you get me this unit, I'll buy it from you. I like the sound of you. And that's when it started.
Can you talk me through, if you had to go back to the calls you're making, if you imagine my arm on the other line, what is it that you're pitching to me?
Anything and everything. I was like one of these people I've recorded now. It was anything and everything. I had no idea. I would ring you and I didn't understand about return on investment yield. I didn't understand about capital growth. I didn't understand about payment plans. I was just calling, going, do you want to buy a house? No. All right, sweet, buy. Do you want to buy a house? Then I'd call you from the VIP department. Then I'd call you from the customer service. I was on my own, mate, and I just think, I'm just going to keep calling until something makes sense. And like I say, the first man that answered, who I still speak to today, said to me, I'm in the market for a Blue Waters unit. It's a 2-bed with a maid's room. It has a specific view, and I need a certain payment instalment plan. And I quite like the sound of you. If you can get me, I feel like you're going to be able to get me. I didn't even know where the tower was. I said, yeah, I'll get you it. No problem. Consider it done. I'll call you back at 5. Rang the owner of the firm and said, what's this? What's Blue Waters? What, Gino, this is it. This is what you do, this. And then they rang me back and so the guy who owned the firm said to me, you've got to take $10,000 off him. Bearing in mind, $10,000 for me at the time was like, I couldn't even imagine how much $10,000 was.
How are you going to take $10,000 off for someone?
I remember thinking, I'm going to ring this man and ask him for 10 grand.
As a deposit, I'm assuming?
Yeah, to book the unit. Mm-hmm. So I rang him, hi, and he's all right, did you get, I got it, but if you're going to pay, I need you to send me your credit card. He's like, all right, fine. So you can do it? Yeah. Just I signed the form and we'll pay. Paid there and then. And he actually paid the down payment on the credit card as well. I remember thinking your limit must be massive. And that was my first sort of insight into how deals are done. And then, like I say, from there on, I got the hang of it. Did a few more and then got really stuck in.
There's one thing I'm picking up on there, which is going to be a really important factor, right? The fact that you're making all of these cold calls, all of these rejections, that can really throw someone off on their confidence. You know, I can imagine if I'm sitting there making 200-300 cold calls and no one is buying, no one's budging, everyone's telling me to piss off and etc., so on and so forth. At some point, I may be like, did I pick the right thing? Did I do the right job?
Yeah.
So in those times there, how do you stay motivated to make sure you keep calling until you get that sale?
Do you know what? It's probably not even motivation. It's more like being stubborn. I'm very stubborn. If I say I'm going to do something, I had 2 leaving dues, right? There was no way I was going back to the UK. I said to my wife, you go, you do your thing. I'm not leaving. I'll sleep on the floor. I don't care. I am not leaving until I make this work. And there's other people making money here, which means it can be done. I just need to work out how it's done.
How it's done.
And that's it. And to be honest, that's my view on everything in life now. If you're doing it, it means there is a way to do it. I just don't know how to do it yet. And I keep going until I find that.
You said you're still friends with the guy who bought that unit, right?
Yeah.
So have you ever had the record the conversation years on later?
Yeah.
You know what, mate? I didn't know what I was doing, but
so he ended up coming back to me. We got on really, really well. I had
after the sale,
and I was so grateful. He had no idea.
Where was he from?
Iran. He was
Okay.
a lovely man. And I had a coffee with him in his office. He had this wonderful office in Business Bay. And he said, I really like you. You were very hungry. I was thinking, mate, yeah, because I couldn't eat dinner. That's why. Do you know what I mean? He ended up buying like 8 other units off me and then referred me all his family, all his friends, and just used to ring me and say, so-and-so's coming to Dubai, meet him here. He wants to buy this. Can you advise him? Yeah, I'll meet you. And so I really give him, I think out in Dubai, there's not a lot of customer service in terms of our industry. So I think where I was coming from, that sort of British customer service background, I was very much like, I'll take you for lunch, I'll take you for coffee, I'll look after you, aftercare. So that helped a lot as well.
That's definitely something I noticed about you, because there's been so many times where, I'm always inquisitive about real estate in Dubai. So I'll come to you and ask you questions, or I even said to you the other day, Gino, can we go around, look at some villas here? I just want to get inspiration. I don't even want to buy anything. I'm going to tire kick. And you said, yeah, cool, let's do it.
Yeah.
Like, you've been there to cater to every single question I've got, and every single, I want to vision something. You've been there to do it. And I've never felt one thing of, I have to buy something from Gino. There's no pressure or anything like that.
Yeah. So
the customer service, and you can see your people's person goes a long, long way, which is sick.
100%. I think people buy from people, right? And that's, as you said it earlier, and it's so true. People buy from people. What I try to do from when I came here to now, and what I try and do with my business and my team now, is I try and change from selling to buying. So I don't need to sell you anymore. When you're ready to buy, you'll buy. If you ring me up and say, I want to buy a house, I'll go, sweet, I'll help you. I'm not ready to buy, but I want to look. I'll help you, no problem, because you will come back. Not necessarily you, but do you know what I mean? Like,
no, but me included.
Even if you do, the chances are you're going to go, oh, sweet, I'll listen to you. So that was the way I tried. When I first got here, it was all about sell, because I needed to. And that was all I could think of. Then I transitioned to go, well, actually, you need to buy from me now.
Well, what was the actual difference?
Well, the difference is you trust what I'm saying. As opposed to me trying to sell you this, you need to buy it. So you need it. So I need to find the need as opposed to just give you anything.
Okay, so it's basically like learning the art of sales.
Yeah.
What do you need?
Yeah, exactly.
Goes back to that iconic scene in Wolf of Wall Street at the end where he's saying, write your name. What do you need at that point? You need a pen. So that's how you're gonna do it.
Exactly.
Okay, fair. So essentially, you found, I suppose I'm gonna call him a gold mine at this point, because it's giving you so many referrals. That's giving you a whole lot of boost in confidence, I'm assuming.
Yep.
Where'd you go from there?
Then it was about.
Because at this point, you're still working for someone else, right?
I was working for someone else. I then landed another client, a family who again are friends today now, and still advise on a lot of the bits that they do. And they really changed my life, that, in terms of the deals and accepting me into their world. I don't know whether they're billionaires or whether they're multi-millionaires, but they live a very, very, very good life. And the way they look at business, money and everything else was a way I'd never seen before. So that had a massive effect on me, stepping into their world, the way they spend money, invest money, the way they look at it. So that sort of changed my life completely. From there on, I then said, right, I want to actually now grow the business. So ended up partnering with the guy that owned it, and said to him, right, let's build this. He said to me, property has no emotion. So I like property because there's no headache. I buy, I sell, I make a margin. Very easy. People have emotion, and that causes a problem. I'm like, sweet, I can deal with emotion, no worries. Mm-hmm. So we built the firm up, and got it to top 10 with developers, and a really good firm. We had 2 offices, and then I ended up, he wanted to go down the investor route. I wanted to build the firm. So I said, I'll tell you what, I'll sell you the firm and I'll go do my own thing. And that was it. Shook hands and went our separate ways.
So you took out your share essentially, basically, from that point.
Yeah.
What did Ellie say about all of this as you're bringing in commission? Because obviously, if we're talking about commissions here in Dubai, I'm assuming Gino's now gone from Suzuki Swift to somewhat of a nice car or a nice house or whatever the case may be.
Do you know what? She's very humble, and the way our relationship works is I'm very much up here and she's very much like, get yourself back down here, come on. And so I'm very, very lucky in that aspect. She without her, I'd have loads of materialistic things, but probably not a lot else. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So she's the one that sort of anchors me down. She was very proud. She was very happy, but she was like, look, we don't need all this crazy shit. Like we just keep going as we are, keep growing and do it for success. Don't do it for money.
Mm-hmm. When you came across that family and you were saying, it changed your life.
Yeah.
I'm assuming you're talking about in the way that, as you said there, the way they spend money, the way they, consume the money, etc. What is it that you learn about money management that I could learn from you?
I think I was always brought up that money is yours or mine or so it belongs to me and it goes in my savings account, and then when my car breaks down I use it. Whereas what these guys do is they use money as a tool. It's yours, it's mine, it doesn't really matter. One of them bought a plot and sold it back to the developer and lost. And I'll never forget, he lost 3 million dirham. And I remember sitting there thinking, I was heartbroken. It wasn't me that sold him the plot initially, but I was part of the deal buying it back. And I said to him, like, we'll make the money back. And he said, oh no, the reason I'm doing this is to free the money up to put it into this, and that will then give me 6 million. So I get my 3 back and I benefit from 3. And I'm like, mate, like, normal people don't think like that. But so they used money as a tool, and they used it instead of keeping it in the bank, they would keep it in assets, whether it's stock market, whether it's real estate, whatever. It grows, and there's no emotion. We liquidate that to pay for that, and that goes there.
They're leveraging it in different ways
all the time. Yeah. Whereas I was always brought up, you earn some money and then you go shopping, you go buy some trainers and a watch and this and that, and you look really rich, but actually no, you're not. You got no dough. But this lot, they've got really nice things, but their way of building was crazy.
The next level, yeah. I think that's something that I definitely need. I mean, I've learned it to some extent, but I think now this year going into 2025, I'm literally leveraging my money as much as possible.
Good. Shifting
it around, getting teams here, doing this here. Right now, I have no attachment to money at all. Whereas before, going back to the olden days of when you first get into entrepreneurship, the first bit of money you get, you either keep it because you're too scared to lose it, or you just go out and spunk it. So it's one or the other. And for me, I'm just like, right, no attachment, invest, do this, etc., and all that sort of stuff.
Good.
So it's interesting. So now the point here, you've sold your share of the business. You're here in Dubai. Essentially, effectively on paper, no job at that point. What now?
Mate, I remember coming home, buzzing, celebrating with Ellie, saying I'm retiring. And what I thought, I'd made a few quid. But
so how old are you at this point, sorry?
28, 29.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. And I said to her, right, sweet, we're done. And she's like, no way. You are going to be a complete nuisance, staying at home all the time. No, you need to go and find something to do.
Just a question, I don't want to get too personal with it either. Was it enough money for you to say you're done?
No way. No. In my head at the time, no, it wasn't at all. No, and it was not a lot of money at all.
Yeah.
But
we're talking millions or
of dirham, but not a lot, right? Like it wasn't a lot. But in my head at the time, I was like, I've cracked it, I've made it. And then I'd known Che and Gary for a long time. I've done deals with them when I had the firm. They were doing secondary market. They were always top brokers and breaking records and doing crazy deals and that. So I'd used to work with them on the secondary stuff. I'd say, well, boys, can you do this? Or more so Che.
So you were already familiar with them?
Yeah, and more so Che than Gary, but I knew them both. Yeah. And like I say, I used to meet Che all the time and whatever. When they were setting up Strada, I spoke to them a few times. I'm like, sick name, like sick branding. And Gary is a marketing genius. So like, I'm like, I know it's going to be amazing. I met with them and they said like, why don't you get involved? You're not doing anything. They didn't really do a huge amount in the off-plan, the sort of investment side of things, and they were more the resale and homeowner side. And mate, do you know when you just meet someone, and like you were saying earlier, there's a chemistry. Straight away, there was just a chemistry, and we all sort of slotted into our own roles, if you like, and that was it. It was like, all right, let's go. All systems go.
Do you think it helped that they were from the UK as well?
I think it helped that we all shared the same. I tell you what it was, right? I was brought up, I always had very, very high standards for myself. I always held myself, I was always really mad with myself when I didn't achieve something, and I was very hard-headed. Like I said, with Dubai, I'm staying. I'll sleep in the corner, I don't care. And it was very difficult to meet people with that same drive and that same belief to go, I'm going to do it. When I met them, they shared the same standards, the same belief. We share now very, very, very high standards, and it reflects in our business now. And anyone that works with us it's incredibly high. So it wasn't so much being from the UK, it was their mindset and their vision and their drive, and they'd been through a similar thing to me, to go, we can't fail. As long as because there's three of us, one's always got a crazy idea, the other two go, no, slow down. You're always on the right path, you know?
So life always hands you opportunities one way or the other.
Yeah.
How do you actually analyze these opportunities to make sure it's a good thing for you? You know, if an opportunity come my way right now, how can I make sure, right, I'm getting involved in that? Same way, when it came to Strada, you were like, right, I'm getting involved in that.
I think, me personally, I'm very much a gut feel. Yeah, I go on my gut. I make mistakes from there and I get it wrong sometimes, but I go on my gut, and normally I'm quite a good judge of character and I'm quite a good judge of situations. I think the more successful you get, the more opportunities arise and the more you have to say no. The more money you get, the easier something looks, and that you go, actually, I can do that and I don't mind the risk. So that's where you got to be a bit careful. But like I said, at the time when I met them, I just knew the three of us together couldn't fail, you know?
No, fair. So you set up this company now, what year?
2.5 years, we're 3 in February.
3 in February. That's crazy to think about how far you've come as well, because as it stands right now, you've got over 120 staff, I believe.
136, I think, in total.
136. So you've grown by another like 20 years from the last time we spoke.
Yeah.
So it's crazy. Talk me back to the beginning days. Was it just you three at first, or did you from the get-go get staff there and then, office, the whole lot? What was it?
So I came in a little bit later. They'd come in and set up, and I actually was there part of the journey, but I came in actually in the business a little bit, a month or two in. But so there was a couple of people in the firm, but it was very, very small. It was very, very small.
No, fair. And what was the whole operation, you said? So your side was off-plan, I believe.
My side was sales initially, so it was just the sales. But to be honest, at the beginning, we were all tea making, cleaning the bins, doing the accounts, we were doing everything, right? I remember coming in on the first day and I'd never ever been in front of the camera. I hated social media, hated doing it. And Gary said to me, I thought of this crazy idea. It's called cappuccinos. We're going to make a cappuccino. Get yourself in the kitchen and do Ray's going to come and film you. And it took me like 50 attempts to take a mug out of the cupboard and put it into the coffee machine, right? I messed it up so many times. I kept saying to him, mate, please, I don't want to do this. He's like, this is the future. Keep going. So yeah, it was nuts. It was.
Going back to it though, real estate is so common in Dubai. So when you were setting up your own firm, I know you had done it previously as well, but what was it in your head that's like, right, this is going to make us different and make us stand out from every single other broker or real estate firm here in the country?
So when I did it before, I did it with no culture. Yeah, it was purely about making money and growing revenue. It wasn't about culture. It wasn't about building anything other than our pockets. Yeah, which didn't really work, to be honest. We did okay, but it wasn't great. What we're doing here is we're building an elite business. We're building a community of people, and I don't think anyone else is doing it. Do you know what I mean? It's a community. I think the biggest thing you hear everyone always says we're a family. We're a family. We're not a family. We're a community. We're a community of elite people with elite mindsets that want to achieve the same goal, and we're all running in the same direction. And that's what made us different. Our standards, our marketing, the way we're perceived. We used to say when we were growing, if you're in a bar and you're having a beer or whatever, and someone says, what do you do? And you say, real estate. And they go, real estate? Yeah, you get that reaction. If someone says to you, I work for PwC, EY, straight away you think, oh, I'm a lawyer or something. You think, well, all right, yeah. So I used to say to the boys, we used to say like that's what the reaction we want. If you see someone walking down the street, that's the reaction we want. And so that's what we had to build, those higher standards.
So someone could say when they meet someone, yeah, I work in Strada.
They go, I knew that from the way you dressed, or do you know what I mean? And there was our route to market wasn't to recruit loads and loads and loads of people. It's to organically grow and build elite mindsets.
Okay, so I was going to throw this later on in the podcast once again, but we're on the subject of it now. Building a team. What is it you look for within people when it comes to building a team? Is it their mindset? Is it their skill set? What is it exactly?
I think I look for the drive. I've said this before. I want to know that someone is willing to go to the places that I'm willing to go to succeed. You know, that's what I want. Everything else is teachable. Sales, psychology, these things, real estate, You can learn that if you want it.
You look for like the characteristics.
That's what I look for. Yeah. To the point, I don't care about degrees and things like that. I want to sit in front of someone, look into their eyes and go, do you have what it takes? Are you as driven as I was? Did you want it? Would you sit in an office, make 200 calls a day with no one in there and not fucking leave until you have to? If you're that way inclined, then sweet.
Yeah.
Good, you're in.
What was the biggest challenge when it come to building Strada in the beginning?
The biggest challenge is there's certain times where you, especially when you're reinvesting, like you're talking about money, you're reinvesting, you're putting your blood, sweat and tears into it, right? In real estate, a broker earns a lot of money. So sometimes the brokers are earning more money than us. A lot of the time in the beginning, that people are doing whopper deals and our commission split's going back into the firm and pays for whatever. So you're looking thinking, is it all worth it? And it is all worth it. But you're looking thinking, as a broker, I was a good broker, I could go and do this. Or the boys are thinking, imagine if it was just 3 of us, we go and do this or this. So I think sticking to our vision and driving through what we all, through the pain, through everything else was so difficult. And I think through growth, it's very easy. Like I said earlier, that the more successful you become, the faster you grow, the more opportunities arise. When you've got to stick to your guns and go, actually, no. It's easy. That's the easy route. I can't take the easy route now. I have to keep going.
Yeah, because I'm assuming there was a mindset shift, right? Because, I know you had done your own businesses previously in the UK. You come in here, you were working for someone else essentially. Then you partnered with him. But, you would essentially gone from being a broker, making the commission on these deals, to now splitting the commission, building the business, taking less money in for yourself. What was there any sort of, not tension in your mind, but talk within your mind to say, am I making the right decision? If I continue being a broker for someone else or whoever it may be and getting that full commission, I would make way more money. What was that like?
It's scaling, isn't it? I think what you've got to look at is there's only so much you can do as an individual and how you can scale a business and what that looks like and what you want from it. Do I want to work 3 days a week, 4 days a week, go and be a broker, do my thing, or do I want to be a part of something that's so special and that has so many special people in it? And actually, we had our Christmas do last week, and I'm standing on stage looking out onto all these amazing people. Like, we've changed so many lives. Do you know what I mean?
I did see that on your story, and I was like, that's pretty sick.
And it's not. It gets to the point where money's money, right? You make money, it's a tool and whatever. But it's actually when you're looking at people and you're looking at the lives that you're changing and what they're doing with themselves, not just financially, but making them so elite. That's when it's all worth it.
Makes sense.
What
type of leader are you, Gino? When the stakes are high, how do you inspire and motivate your team to do the best they can?
I'm very hands-on. Even when I shouldn't be, I was saying earlier, I still love to be involved in deals and things like that. It's my nature, and like I said, probably shouldn't be, but I like to lead by example. I'm someone, I think, as a leader, as a good leader, you're a problem solver. That's what you're there for. You have to be approachable. For me, I have an open door policy. Come see me with anything and we'll solve it. We'll sort it. The worst thing you can do is leave it. Don't tell me. And then it ends up on my desk as a problem. Then we got problems. I'm very much like, whatever it is, there's always a solution. Just come see it and we'll work it out.
What sort of problems do you face in your business?
Well, we're working with emotion, right? So there can be things fall out of bed, deals fall out of bed. There's contracts in place and they can run over and things like that. So people get very upset, especially, if you're buying your dream home or your first home or whatever. And there's a lot of different moving parts, right? If you're mortgage to mortgage, there's a lot of different factors. And as a business, we've got the sort of conveyancing, you've got rentals, you've got new people coming in, you've got older people off plan. Like there's all sorts of factors that come in. And I think what I learned is like I say, having that open door policy and staying calm and just working your way through it is the best way.
As someone who's been in the sales game for many years, can you walk me through the art of selling in your eyes?
Yeah, do you know what? I see
the smirk on your face, like, I know, I'm a salesman.
I'm very comfortable in a sales environment. But I try and break it down. So I sold windows for a little bit, right? I left it out because it's a little bit embarrassing. But
no, it's not embarrassing.
It was door knocking. So I worked in a very old school sales, like a Zig Ziglar, Brian Tracy, like that sort of like.
Yeah, white gold.
Yeah. And the psychology was a massive part of it. So I learned a lot with working with them guys. I only did it for about a year. But I think that doesn't really work these days. I think the biggest part is breaking it down and finding a need, doing a needs analysis, understanding why we're sat here today, breaking that down and advising correctly.
And this goes for anything, not just real estate.
Yeah, anything, whatever it is, right? If you're going to go and buy this, or you're going to go buy a watch or whatever, right? I need to understand why you're buying the watch, what you want. Do you want a Rolex, an AP, a Patek, whatever it is, and then what you're going to do with it. Is it an investment? Is it something you're going to use? You're going to water a lot? Like, there's so many different factors to it that we find out what your need is, and then you're gonna acquire it.
Yeah.
And if I'm a big believer. I find out what the need is. Have you got the money? Are you in a position to make the decision? And if you are, you're buying. It's as simple as that.
So finding the needs.
Yeah.
And then in your case,
yeah.
What from there?
So we find the needs, then we funnel it down. So
okay, let's make this even better case scenario, right?
Yeah.
I'm your customer right now.
Yeah.
I don't know what I want. Let's go through the whole strategy.
Sweet. So okay. So what do you want from you? Want an investment, or you want to live in it?
I want to live, but I also want something that will hold its value, if not go up.
Okay, fine. But the main things, you want to live in it, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So do you have any commitments? Office, schools?
I've obviously naturally got a podcast, so that can be run from anywhere. However, I wouldn't mind having a dedicated studio space in my house, so that I can run podcasts from there all day long. You know, imagine if we had a place like this where I could do podcasts here, outdoors all day long. Okay.
All right. And then I would look at what means more to you. So if you want space, then there's certain areas. You want a villa, or you want an apartment, or you want a townhouse.
Mm-hmm. Okay, if it's my first purchase here in Dubai, as we were discussing about a few months ago, you know, I like the idea of Creek Harbour. Yeah. But I know long term would definitely be something like this, a villa, a proper homely place.
So if you were looking to buy something like that, that'd be a journey. I'd be looking to say to you, well, why don't we acquire something as more of an investment that you can live in that has the growth, right? So then you're going to buy something for say 2 million dirham, all right? And your idea is going to get to 2.5 million in the next 3 or 4 years. That 500,000 will play a role in your next purchase when we exit that. See what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So we'll use that as opposed to coming in, putting all your cash into something else. We'll buy something, live in it, get to know the area. You don't like it, you like it. If you don't, you've made a bit of money on it, and then we'll exit and go somewhere else.
So that's interesting, because off the back of that conversation just now, you've already understood that I know exactly where I want to go for the first time, but I know what my long term is. So you've kind of got me in the ropes there for both purchases, essentially.
Correct.
Which is sweet, I suppose.
Which is what we do, right? That's what when I was broken, that's what we did. We'd sit, we'd talk to you, and if you sit with any of my team, any single person in Strada, they'll do the same thing. They're not trying to. I'm not trying to sell you. They won't sit and sell you. They'll sit with you and go, okay, where do you want to be? You know, the chances are, if you're inquiring with a secondary market agent, you know your area that you want to be in. If you're inquiring in under construction, then you have no idea. So they're two very different approaches, which we teach in both approaches. But I think that the off-plan under construction approach is much more of an out-and-out sales role, whereas the resale is about still a lot of selling in it, but it's understanding what the client needs and taking them around.
Oh, fair. Makes sense. Where would you say to invest in Dubai right now?
It depends on what you want, mate. It depends on what you want. It really does.
I speak to a few real estate brokers as such, or people who do have some sort of understanding of real estate game out here. Everyone just says one thing: Dubai South.
Yeah, if Dubai South long term, what I would say is it all depends on what you want to achieve from the investment. If you want a 5% return and a safe bet, you can go downtown, right? As a rental yield. If you want a little bit more growth, you've got places like the Creek where you can still achieve a little bit more because there's a lot more to come and there's a lot more attractions to come. If you want, to look at buying into something that's not really built yet, you can go down the Dubai South route, but there's obviously a little bit more risk there. It would all depend on how much money you'd want to spend and what you want from it. It depends on your risk factor, really.
Yeah. And coming back to it with the sales thing, right? How do you actually upkeep and keep someone as a long-term client? Now, I'm going to use cars as an example because that's what I know, that I buy and sell. I don't buy and sell cars on the regular, but I'll buy a car from a dealership. Say my last car, which was an M4. Yeah. I've bought it from, let's just say, a dealership in Gatwick. Now, when it comes to selling it, I'm not going back to the dealership, not necessarily because I've got any spite towards them, but I'm just going to wherever it's quick and easy to sell my car, sort of thing, right? So I'm going to any dealership for that matter. Yeah. Now, I know the ideal situation for you is you have me buying a property, and I'm looking to sell it. I want to stay within Strada. I want to keep that property within Strada's portfolio, I suppose. Yeah. So how do you make sure that that's the case, that in 5 years' time or however long the time period is, that the customer, the buyer, also comes back to you as the seller as well?
Well, a few things. It comes down to how well the agents are trained, how good they are. It comes down to their relationship management, but it also comes down to branding. A lot of things out here, a lot of, in the UK, you go to a household UK brand, and they're coming to you because you're a brand. Here, it does obviously have the same effect, but what we've done is we've built such a phenomenal brand that people remember us. We're everywhere. You know what I mean? You go on YouTube, you said to me before, I've seen your vlog, I've seen this, I've seen that. We're everywhere, social media, YouTube, Property Finder, so the brand hits you everywhere to go, well, you are credible. And if you are credible, I booked the house off you and I want to now use you to sell it. It happens all the time.
Let's talk about brand building, because this is very interesting. Obviously, I know building a brand is such a big thing. Everyone knows about building a brand, whether it be personal brand, whether it be business brand.
Yeah.
Everyone knows to brand everything, right? Now, in the real estate game, it's always been quite traditional in the sense that, I look at any sort of real estate company in the UK, even the big ones don't have massive presence and branding wise. Not the everyday person will know them, right? They haven't got an established online brand around them, etc. What I'm trying to say is it's always been that, and you've kind of switched it and you're making this brand Strada bigger than it ever is. I didn't understand the power of real estate branding until I watched a program called Owning Manhattan. You seen it?
Yeah.
So I look at like Ryan Serhant. He's building Serhant, I believe that's his brand, right? He's building Serhant, and I'm seeing this guy's building a brand off of real estate. I haven't seen it done before, and then somehow the walks of life, I've met you, and here you are doing the same sort of thing in Dubai. So why is it so important to build a brand within real estate?
I think credibility is a massive thing, right? We said it before. If people start to see you everywhere, they start to then trust you and believe you and understand, or they can make their own decisions and have their own opinions on who you are, whether they like you or they don't, but they have their opinion. And I think real estate traditionally is quite a boring, quite a corporate boring. If you look at any of the high street brands in the UK, they're all quite boring and corporate. We're not at all, obviously. And what we've done is we've sort of turned that on its head and gone, do you know what? There's a lot of fun that happens in the office. It's an amazing place to be. It's got an amazing vibe. Let's showcase it. And actually, you don't have to just use the portals, because if you're only relying on portals and the portals double their price, you're fucked. Do you know what I mean? Or if the portal goes down or goes bankrupt, you've got nowhere selling houses. Whereas if we build a channel that we go, we'll make it really cool and fun and sexy, and you want to watch it, and it's really, really consumable. We have fun while we're doing it. We build the sickest marketing team in the industry, and it's a safety net for us that we can always exit houses using that. It's a win-win for everyone.
What about the people who are working at Strada? Do you advise them to build brands like for their own personal brand?
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. Only since that I've been building my own though. So before it was a big contradiction. I would push everyone to do it, but I didn't do it myself. And it's really difficult. Now I'm trying to put a lot of effort into doing my own thing, and well, not my own thing, but I'm trying to push my own branding that benefits us as a business and the team. And definitely we're pushing people to do it.
I've got the guys for you. You met them at the mastermind as well. Ali and Jamal. Shout out them. They're doing my personal branding, stuff like that. I think, if you had them as a personal brand, they always ask me one question, which is, and I will ask you this now as well. What is your message? If you've done your personal brand, when someone thinks of Gino, what do you want them to think?
Value. I know the whole thing is value. Everything I want to achieve is value. When someone associates me with something, I want them to look and go, is it from Gino? It means it's be valuable. I must watch it. That's the key thing that I want to give out to anyone, because there's different ways of doing it, isn't it? I'm very conscious that I don't want to go down a lifestyle route or these things, because I'm very conscious I don't want to look like that. But if someone can see my name and associate it with something valuable in business, real estate, sales, then that's we're achieving what we're supposed to be achieving.
I see a challenge in this, right? Now, as you're saying, telling your staff people to make their own personal brands. Now, I'm looking at it like this, because do you work on a commission-only basis in Strada? So everyone who's working there has got to be some sort of entrepreneurial mindset, right? Because if they don't sell, they're not making money. And it's the same thing with an entrepreneur. Now, how do you actually keep someone from building their personal brand in Strada? They're getting the sales, they're getting the skills, they're getting everything they need to then say, right, I'm leaving Strada, I'm doing my own thing. How do you make sure that you have...
Such a good question.
Yeah.
It's a really, really good question. And we have had a couple of people go and set up their own firms. Our ethos is that we build such a good platform that anyone that comes in can't not make money. But not just about making money. We've brought in Strada Fast as an example, right? So it means you train together, you heal together, you get better together. So there's such a community inside the community that even if you were going to go on your own and make another 20%, 30%, it's not worth the extra 20% because of the community you have here. So you build such a grounding for everyone, including the owners. You know, I go to work, I'm in 8:30, I don't leave till 6, 7 o'clock, the same as the boys, because we love it. You know, we actually love it. So, and I believe that every single person there loves working there. It's a fun place to work. So I think that's building that. I've always been brought up in that you're a bird in my hand. If I hold you tight and I let you go and you fly, you will never mind. If I hold my hand open and you stay, you're with me. That's the mentality we take with this. Our hands open, no one's going. Because we're, do you know what I mean?
And I suppose, you know, you can see it on your YouTube channel as well, because the kind of benefits you got at Strada or working at Strada, being there. As you said, you got Strada Fast.
Yeah.
What else have you got there that entices someone to stay?
We've brought in Strada Studio. We brought in Strada New Build, which is the off-plan department that I'm setting up now, and I'm going to launch properly in the new year. We've got Strada Studios, which, like I said earlier, in my opinion, is the best marketing team in the industry. It's filled with great minds, great creativity. They've got their own office, and you walk in and you can just feel everyone's just proper cool, and you can just feel the creativity. So if you've got a property you need to sell and you go sit in that studio, you're going to sell it. You're going to come out with some piece of art that will sell the house. So I think Strada Fast is something that we've recently launched and has had such an impact in the market, in the business, in the figures. You know, I'm a figures person. I look at the figures. That's my role, is to increase the figures, and this has played such a massive role into increasing the revenue, because people are fitter, people are healthier, people are not boozing all the time. You know, people are healing properly. If they're not billing, they're sitting with Mel, who's head of Strada Fast, and she's there doing therapy, breath work, meditation, all positive things. You know.
What was it? We were talking about it before, off camera, in another conversation, where, you know, the typical thing in the UK is, you know, you finish work on a Friday, everyone goes out for booze or something like that.
Yeah.
And you've kind of taken the same ethos, but done it in a much healthier way.
Well, when we first started, if you ask anyone, we were work hard, play hard. Yeah. And we played hard, and we sort of we were known for that. But what we tried to do, the weirdest thing is, if we go and do a hit class together, or we go sit in a pub, I know you don't drink, but we went to sit in a pub and have 5 pints, the endorphins you get are the same. So we always say, like, if you after a hit class, if I had a Corona with you, it's the same as being in a boozer. It's the same thing, but one's healthy, one's not. So we're like, well, why not just turn that on its head and actually push everyone? We still go and have fun. We still go and take people out, beach clubs and parties. And like I said, the Christmas party, we had Sunny Federa there, like, we had it. But it's now about drilling people into the positive, healthy mindset. And the biggest thing is the camaraderie. If me and you are in a hit class and you're tired or I'm tired, you come on, mate, let's go again. You go again. You're forming a bond with people. Do you know what I mean? It's a really, really special thing.
You know, Gino, for as long as I've known you, and for as long as this podcast has been going on so far, I think people can clock onto it as well, is that you have such a great, resilient winner's mindset.
Thank you.
How do you upkeep that? Well, on a day-to-day basis, when I'm sure there's adversity that comes from everywhere, different angles, different levels of adversity, how do you make sure that Gino still has that winning mindset?
I think,
because from an outside perspective, let me just say this, it doesn't seem like you ever have problems. It doesn't seem like, it seems like you've got everything under control, all on lock, like you're going straight to the top, nothing's bringing you down. How do you make sure that you still got that?
I think, like I said to you, right, I think the biggest thing is not to panic. When things do go wrong, there is problems, and we're problem solvers. That's what we do. You know, we're very good at solving problems. I think having routine for me personally is very, very important, right? I go to bed pretty much at the same time every night. I wake up pretty much the same time every morning. I do the same thing in the morning that I always talk about, and everyone will take the mick out of it when I start talking about ice baths. But all of these things play a part in my life, right? Going to the gym every day, being accountable for that is so, so important. So I think, regardless of how successful you get, remaining accountable to yourself, right? To say, I go to bed. I was away last week, right? We had a few drinks, we had the Christmas party, whatever. Come back, and this week really struggling to wake up at 5 a.m. I don't need to wake up at 5 a.m, but I'm accountable to myself that I said I would. So I get up in the morning and go, right, get in the ice bath, do these things. That keeps you strong, keeps you mentally strong. Setting goals, regular goals within the business, personal goals. You know, we're going into 2025. I'm going to sit down next week and start to write. I haven't done it yet. I'm going to start to write out things. I know exactly what I achieved this year and what I missed, and then I'll go through why I missed the things I missed or things changed, and then look at quarterly goals, monthly goals, and annual goals as well. I think it's so important.
Let's talk about that. What did you miss this year?
I wanted to invest a little bit more personally. I think it swings and roundabouts, isn't it? Because what we set out as a business to achieve in the year, we achieved in 6 months, and we had to actually do like rejig everything because it was so much lower than what we'd expected. And when we set them, it was unachievable.
What was it? Your 2024 plan?
2024 plan, January 2024. We all sat down and we put these what we thought at the time was huge targets in place, and we smashed through them in June, July. So like, shit, we need to go again, even bigger. What's even more unachievable? Personal goals, things like fitness, I really got on with. I've always had a battle with fitness. I love training. My eating's terrible. I'm a proper foodie. I love a pizza. Do you know what I mean? It gets the better of me. But this year I was homing in, like I'm going to get into routine and drop a bit of weight, and I've dropped a bit of weight. Going into next year, I don't know. I haven't thought of it yet of what I'll do. But yeah, I think some of the things that I missed mainly was a lot of personal investments. I wanted to invest a lot more than I did. Did a few bits and bobs, but next year I'll definitely do more.
Do you like to set goals that scare you?
Yes, love it.
Yeah?
Love it, yeah.
Give me a goal off the top of your head that you think, oh shit, that's a bit scary, but I need to do that.
Buying my car. I said I was going to do it, and everyone said, yeah, all right. And then when I did it, I actually took my dad with me to the showroom, and we walked in and he said, what are we doing in here? It was all different crazy cars.
Oh, he didn't know?
No idea. I just said, come on, we'll go car shopping. Walked in.
Did you already buy the car?
No. We went. I'd been looking around for it, and I said, come on, we'll go and have a little look. He was over at the time. So he said, all right, fine. So he's wandering around. I can't remember the showroom. He's wandering around the showroom. Gino, there's this, there's that. And I'm going, what? Come here. What are you doing? Sitting him in it. He's 6'4". He's a big guy. And the joke is that he can't get into sports cars because he's big.
Yeah.
So I said, come here, I need to see if you fit in this. Get in the passenger seat. So he sits in. I said, what do you reckon? Close the door. I said, should we buy it? And he was like, what? I said, come on, let's buy it.
What
we'll
was it, the Urus?
Yeah. So we went and bought it and did the deal, whatever. So that was something that I had always dreamt of and never. I knew I'd get it, but there was times I thought, I'm never going to get this, you know. But buying a sports car, and then that one transitioned into the one, you know, I wanted.
You know, special moments like that we've always got to be grateful for.
Yeah.
But at the same time, as much as you want to be grateful for and celebrate the fact that you've got it, you always set goals for the next thing.
Yeah.
How do you stay grateful but also look forward to the future? Like we were talking about over in the mastermind, you know, one of the main things that kept coming up was the fact that how do you be content and grateful but also chase more for the future? Live for today but also living for the future.
It's such a fine line, isn't it? I think there's two things. There's an arrogance that you can have that I don't want to have. And like I said earlier, I'm very lucky that I have a very strong wife that pulls me down because I have the nature that could happen and it won't because of her. I think there's a fine line. There's a fine line between pride and ego. I was always taught, be proud. Don't be egotistical, right? You're doing it for you, not for anyone else. And if you don't want it, forget what anyone else thinks. But you're not driving down the road thinking, look at me. You're not. You're thinking, I wanted this, I'll buy it. I don't care what people think. There's a difference. And there's, when you start to get it, you realise it doesn't actually mean anything. It's wonderful to have, but what means things is family time and kids. And that, I sacrificed a lot of time, as the others did, with family to get to where we got to, right? Because that was the sacrifice we had to do. And now I'm looking going, it means more to me to take my son swimming on a Saturday morning or my daughter swimming on a Saturday morning than it does to drive down the road or go buy a watch or whatever. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So I think being humbled and realising what really matters, I like nice things. I'm always going to like nice things I did as a kid. So I'm going to try and have nice things. But being humbled to say materialistic things don't mean it. You know, it's the people and the family that means things.
If a perfect business is at 100, let's just say that's the max level you can reach 100, where would you say Strada is?
Well, for me, I'm biased, aren't I? I'll tell you 100 because I'll tell you it's the best business in the world. In terms,
so the question I'm trying to ask is, what do you need for yourself and for Strada to get to the next level?
I think we need to learn to scale. We've scaled very, very well organically, and like I said, there's 3 of us that own it, so we're very lucky that we've got very different skill sets, but very similar mindsets. I think going into 2025, it's about scaling in the right way, not bringing 30 people a month in and ruining the culture. We're a culture business, we're a marketing business, but understanding how we scale that, whether it's opening new offices or whatever we decide to do, it's ensuring that the people are always happy, the people have that culture, and everyone that works with us loves what we're about.
Are we ever going to see Strada developments or anything like that?
I never say never, mate, but we're very focused on perfecting what we do. So I think you'll see a lot of Strada Fast. You're going to hear a lot about Strada New Build in 2025. We've got a new office opening for that.
Yeah. Is that the one you showed me previously?
Yeah. So I'm going to be sat in there heading that up. I'm very, very excited about that and get stuck into that. So that's my goal for 2025 is to get that firing on all cylinders,
Okay, so that's going to be its own separate office just for New Build?
New Build, that's it.
Really? Okay. Why a whole new office just for New Build? Because I remember when I came to your office, you had the dedicated room for New Build, right?
Yeah.
So now you're just making a whole new office.
Yeah.
And just for the audience sake, for them to know, it's not your normal size 2 to 5 people office. It's a full-on floor.
Yeah. It's quite big.
Yeah.
It's we outgrew that room. That was actually the finance room before. Then we ended up taking a new office for finance and admin and moved New Build into there. Outgrew it, and New Build is something I'm very passionate about. It's a very strong part of the business, and it's something that you need for investors. And I think a lot of the brokers and brokerages out here aren't doing it correctly. So I think we got a point to prove that we're going to put our Strada spin on it, build a character around it, and the only way to do that was to go balls deep, take the office, commit. Going back to what you were saying earlier, what's a goal you're scared of? We've invested a lot of money. We've put, our cards on the table and gone, right, let's go. We're here and we're going to take over.
What's the most important thing for you in life right now, Gino?
Family.
Business, personal?
Family. Personally, family is the most important thing for me. And my business, Strada. It goes in hand, really, because to be honest, one supports the other. My nan had a great saying, war outside, peace at home. When we step into that office, we're not going to war with each other, we're going to war with everyone else. And what I mean by that is there's all sorts of things. You don't know what you're going to experience. Then when you're lucky enough that I am to have a wonderful family, you come home, you've got peace at home and that safe place that it's really, really special.
Well, Gino, I haven't known you for too long, but I just want to say, hearing your story, sitting with you on the podcast, being your friend for some time, genuinely very proud of what you've achieved where you've come from to where you've got to so far. And I know the future's only going to look 10 times brighter than what it is right now, at least I'd say 100x maybe.
Thank you very much.
So very much appreciate you coming on the podcast and sharing your whole story.
Thank you so much.
If people want to follow you on socials, where can they do so?
Instagram, TikTok, YouTube is about to go off. The one you want to follow is Strada UAE. That's what you want to be following. On Instagram and YouTube. Have a look on the YouTube. Start watching the vlog. You'll see it. You'll see exactly all behind the scenes. Everything I'm talking about. You've seen it. You'll start to see.
I'll start to enjoy it. I'll start to like stuff like that. I know you were making YouTube videos, but it's one of those things where I was watching it at night. I was like, right, what can I put on? I was sitting in bed thinking, Strada. Let me see what the video's about and all that sort of stuff. And then next thing I'm there for like an hour and a half, just binge watching all the Strada videos, thinking, right, this is quite sick, this is good content.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
If anyone ever needs real estate in Dubai, I'm not just saying this because Gino's on a podcast right now, but I will be 100% buying my first property in Dubai with Gino once I'm ready. I appreciate you very much for your time, sharing everything you've got, your knowledge. I think this has been one of the most insightful, best podcast I've done.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, sweet. I'm going to leave all the links in the description. Guys, make sure you subscribe. Catch the next episode of CEOCAST next Sunday. And I hope you all have a great 2025 ahead. Peace.